purpose of this webinar is to clear the confusion, to guide the students for their future. We, the students of literature, face a lot of problem that what should we do during our PG and after our PG for making our career in English literature. And how can we clear net? As we know that the syllabus of English literature, the syllabus of for the net, it is very confusing, it is very vast, and it is not possible for us to read each and every point, each and every topic of that syllabus. So how can we tackle that syllabus? What should we read and how should we read, and what should we do during our preparation of net and JRF? These things will be talked by all the speakers. Those are invited today in this experts talk. As you know that it is 2 days expert talk, and in these 2 days we will be attending the questions of our participants and giving the answer to that questions. So in few minutes we will start this session. Thanks to all of you that you joined this webinar. I hope with this session you will be benefited a lot and you'll be helped by the speakers. As you have seen the poster, there are 3 speakers and 2 special guests. They are doing research, they are teaching somewhere. The special guests are assistant professors. They will be sharing their experiences, their guidance, their tips, and the speakers who have been invited, they also be sharing some special tips. So I hope our speakers are joining us. Let me find. Our one of the speaker Nisarga sir has joined us. So kindly unmute your mic. Nisarga sir, kindly unmute your mic. Nisarga sir, kindly yes. Wait, I'm not getting voice. Can you speak something, sir?
Hello.
Yes, yes. You're audible to me.
Yeah, this is Nisarga.
How are you, sir? Good evening.
Good evening. Am I being audible? Can you hear me?
Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Hello, am I audible to you? Because
Yeah. Yeah. Good
kindly unmute
afternoon,
yourself.
everyone.
What's about Payal ma'am and sir? Payal ma'am, if you are here, kindly unmute your mic. And Amrit sir also. Nisar sir,
Yeah. Hello.
kindly share.
Yeah, can you hear me?
If possible, please share.
Yeah, this is Nisarga.
Payal ma'am, are you here? Payal ma'am and Amrit. Yes, sir. Good evening, Payal sir.
Good evening.
Welcome to RIELL Presents Experts Talk on how to clear NET JRF and PhD entrance.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for uh, calling us, inviting us. Thank you.
Welcome, sir. What's about other speakers? Uh, Payal ma'am and Amrit sir. Payal ma'am, are you here? Okay. Sir, Nishar sir, I would like to start the session. Uh,
Yeah,
Let me find. As to the video, you all have got it to know that for today's talk, there are three speakers: Payal Priya ma'am, Nishar sir, and Amrit Mishra sir. They are from different universities. They are JRFs and they are doing research in different central universities. Payal ma'am is doing her research from Jawaharlal Nehru University in English literature, and our Amrit sir and Nishak sir are doing their research from EFLU, and they are experts in English literature. I thought that why not their experience should be shared with the aspirants, with the students who are struggling while doing their research, while doing their preparation for NET and JRF and English literature. We all know it that the syllabus of English literature for NET, it is really very vast and it is really very confusing. From where should we start and where we should go and what topic we should deal with and what we should leave and which book we should go through and to whom should we consult. So many questions are there in the mind of our aspirants or the students. So for making those confusions, those problems cleared, I organized, I am Kunvar Shekhar Gupta, the director and secretary of
यार बोल
this expert talk,
खाली सुनने से कर। लिखो है
organized
क्या अपना सर?
today's expert talk for you all. one thing I would like to request before starting the session, that kindly keep your mic muted till whole session, because it disturbs a lot to us. Amrit sir, very good evening to you. Am I audible to you? Sir, kindly unmute your mic. Amrit sir, kindly unmute your mic.
Yeah, I can hear
Yes.
you now clearly. Yeah, clear voice.
Okay. Very good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome
Yeah,
to
good evening,
RIELL
mate.
Presents online lecture and this expert talk. How are you, sir?
Very good. Very fine.
Your voice is a little means it is not audible clearly to us. Kindly speak loudly or just keep
Yeah,
your
I'm
mic
totally fine.
near.
Is that okay? Is
Okay,
it
okay,
clearer now? Yeah, I'm totally fine.
okay.
No
Now
problem.
it is.
Yeah.
Payal ma'am, you trying to join us. अमिताभ सर एंड जन्मेजय सर, अगर आप सभी जुड़ गए हैं हमसे तो काइंडली अनम्यूट योर माइक. Our two special guests, Amitabh sir and Janmejay sir, they are assistant professors in different universities. I have invited them also to share some experiences, to share some knowledge that they have gone through. They will be sharing those things to us. And I would like to start this session with the video presentation. Once again, I would like to play that video, and after that, I will start that session. This session. As I have scheduled Amitabh sir for addressing this, means for starting this session, Amitabh sir will be dealing with some important issues. Let me find it. Either he has joined us or not. Amitabh sir, will join us at 5:15, and after that, I will just invite our Nisarga sir, and after that, Amrit sir and Payal. So this will be the sequence, and after that, last we will be listening the assistant professor Dr. Janmejay sir, and I hope this session will be wind up at 7 o'clock. I'm waiting for our first speaker, the special guest Amitabh sir. He has given me the time 5:15, so I'm really sorry because you are kept for waiting. Payal ma'am has joined us. Ma'am, kindly unmute your mic. Ma'am, kindly, if it is possible, kindly share your video too. Good evening, ma'am. Am I audible to you? Payal ma'am, am I audible to you?
Yes, you're audible to me. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Kindly just keep your mic close to your mouth because your voice is too slow. Is not audible to us. Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm just trying. Wait, there seems to be some issue here.
Vijay Kumar Tiwari sir has joined us. Very good evening, sir. Kindly unmute your mic. Kindly unmute your mic. You are not audible to us. Then Vijay sir, kindly unmute your mic. Why is it not coming to us? Amitabh Vikram Dwivedi sir has joined us. Kindly unmute your mic, Amitabh sir. We have five speakers today. The speakers and two special guests, and all of them have joined us. So I welcome to all of you in this experts talk on how to clear NET JRF and PhD entrance. Amitabh sir and Janvijay sir, kindly unmute your mic. I want to listen your voice. Janvijay sir, I think you are unable to unmute. We are unable to listen. Amitabh sir, I'm very happy that we have the participants from whole India and they are preparing for NET, and either they are students of PG or they are preparing for NET, and some faculties also have joined us. So I welcome to all of you whom I'm not unable to address the name. I'm really sorry to them, but I welcome to this experts talk. Sir, kindly unmute your mic. Sir, am I audible to you? Yes, thank you, sir. Yes, sir, kindly unmute your mic. Amitabh sir, kindly unmute your mic. We are unable to listen your voice. If Payal ma'am is able to listen, kindly just leave the meeting once again and join it once again. Means leave the meeting and
Okay,
join
I'm
it
doing
once
it.
again. एक बार इसको आप छोड़ के फिर से join करें and because you have just not given the permission to share the camera while just installing the app, you have not given the permission. You will have to just uninstall and install again. You will have to give the permission to camera from the setting. Amitabh sir, yes. Very good evening, sir. Amitabh sir, am I audible? Am Amitabh sir, am I audible to you? Amitabh sir, I think he is facing with some network issue. Hello, Amitabh sir. Let me call him. Yes, this session I would like to, before inviting our special guest, Dr. Amitabh Vikram Dwivedi sir, I would like to introduce him. As I have told you that I organize this experts talk for helping the aspirants and the students who are preparing for NET and PhD entrance. I try to take the experiences of these experts to these learners. So I hope so this session you will be benefited and it will be fruitful to you. And this session is going to be started with a lecture of Amitabh Vikram Dwivedi sir. He is head. I would like to introduce him. Amitabh Vikram Dwivedi is a University Faculty of Linguistics and heading the School of Language and Literatures at Sri Mata Vaishno Devi University, India. His research interests include language documentation, writing descriptive grammars, and the preservation of rare and endangered languages in South Asia. The National Digital Library of India, MHRD, features his 19 lectures in the public domain. Also, the UNESCO Atlas of the World's Languages in Danger refers to his two works on the Bhadarwahi language at its official website. His published books is found in the libraries of University of Stanford and Princeton. He has contributed numerous papers to many science citation index and Scopus journals and contributed more than 150 research papers to knowledge resources, chiefly EBSCO, and two encyclopedias published by Springer Nature, Says, Roman, and Littlefield and ABC's Clio publications. He has also been a co-director for research project entitled A Comprehensive Study of Culture, Philosophy, Literature and Language, sectioned by Indian Council of Social Sciences Research. His most recent books are A Grammar of Saraji, Dogri and its Dialects, A Grammar of Hadoti, A Grammar of Bhandarwahi, Chinar Ka Shuka Pata, and Something Lurks, It Seems 2017. Besides this, he is a poet. He has published numerous poems in different anthologies, journals, magazines worldwide. Until recently, his poem Mother has been published as a prologue to Motherhood and War, International Perspectives, Macmillan Press, that has been published from Palgrave Macmillan Press. This was the short introduction of our special guest, Dr. Amitabh Dwivedi sir, and I would like to welcome him, and I would like to start the session with his lecture. Amitabh sir, over to you. If I'm audible to you. Hello. Amitabh sir, am I audible to you? Because it is online webinar, and that is why we face a lot of problems. You need to keep patience. I'm trying my best to not create any issues.
Keshav.
Amitabh sir, am I audible to you?
Now
Yes.
you are audible. Am I audible to you?
Sir, kindly share your camera.
I am sharing.
Yes, you are audible.
Because the problem is my broadband connection is not working, and I am just talking from using 2G connection. So this might create a problem. I am trying to share my screen, but
you're not clearly audible to us because of network.
Yeah, network problem is there. That's why I think it is preferable if I switch off my screen, sharing screen, so at least you can hear my voice. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think this problem may continue, or this problem will continue because my broadband is not working, and there was a power failure for more than 6-7 hours. Though electricity is resumed, but it's still internet is not resumed. So I'm using my 2G connection, and as you know that in 2G connection we have certain limitations. So that's why it's not working well. So I was asked to say something on how to qualify for PhD entrance examination, and second thing is uh, someone who is preparing for NET or NET JRF examination, what type of preparation that person needs to do. Now, these two are different things, but in academia they are also related. Now we need to understand how these two different things are related to each other. Now when it comes to PhD entrance examination, then in India there are certain institutes, they won't take you as a PhD candidate if you are not NET or NET JRF qualified. So what type of institutions are those? Particularly IITs. So it is a requirement, if you want to register in IITs, then you must clear NET or NET JRF. So that way NET JRF is related to PhD entrance examination or uh, taking a seat in PhD. Now other institutes, though there is no hard and fast rule that you are net qualified, then only you can write PhD entrance examination. But still, you will have an upper edge if you have cleared net or net JRF. So these two things are there. Many universities, many institutes, they conduct their separate PhD entrance examination. So there is no uh, uniform or uniformity among institutions and universities uh, related to PhD entrance examination. So generally they prepare their question paper for the entrance examination, and accordingly they conduct the PhD entrance examination. Now when it comes to the preparation of net JRF, am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are
Uh,
audible.
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay,
sir.
okay, fine. So the thing is, when it comes to, I'll take them one by one. So when it comes to net JRF preparation for this examination, then when I did my net examination, then it was a mix, a blend of objective and subjective type. So there used to have three papers. One is general paper, and in general paper there were different questions related to that is related to let's say computers, that is related to teaching abilities, that is related to other general abilities that one must possess if one is going for let's say higher research, or one wants to be a teacher. So that is one general examination objective type, then another objective type examination that was related to again objective type but subjective related, and the final paper was of subjective type. And under subjective type there used to be different there used to be some background noise there. So all of you please yourself. Yes. So I was telling you my own experience when I wrote net examination, and the final paper was the subjective type, and that was the most difficult one, because in subjective type paper you can't assume certain things, because in objective type at least you have four options, so you can make a guess, you can make a speculation. But when it comes to subjective type, then if you know, then you can write. If you do not know, then there is no fun in writing. But now there is a change in the pattern, and now what is this change? That we do not have any subjective type in net examination, and now we only have this objective type paper. Now because of this objective type paper, the number of people, the number of students who write for net examination, that has also uh, grown up, and students who are qualifying net examination, that has also grown up. So these two patterns are there. Now someone who is pursuing the master degree, why is it necessary to qualify net or net JRF? Now these two are two different things. When it comes to net, then you are eligible, uh, like previously you are eligible for the post of an assistant professor, but I think from last year they have made PhD degree as a compulsory degree, that once you have a degree then you can go for the post of assistant professor. But still, once you have net and once you have net JRF, then JRF is you are qualifying for scholarship as well. So when you secure a seat, a PhD seat in some institute, then and you are net JRF, that means the UGC will also give you certain scholarship. Certain scholarship each month UGC will provide you. So that is to say that you can do your research in peace. So you need not to be in a hurry that okay, I should just complete my research and then go for because I'm investing so much in my degree. So that factor is not there because you are supported with some scholarship. So even if you want to take more years, so generally what I have seen, what I have observed, that someone who gets let's say scholarship, then those candidates they take full time it's like maximum time limit for completing their degree. So like they take 6 years, entire 6 years, because they are not in a hurry and they also want to utilize their full scholarship. That trend is there. But if you are not JRF and if you are simply net, then obviously you want to finish your degree and then go for a job, because your daily expenses and the other expenses that you are bearing or your family is bearing, you want to earn something on your own. So these two different scenarios are there when it comes to net and JRF. Now ideally someone who is pursuing, who is doing the master's degree in any subject, most of the universities they follow a syllabus that is matching with the UGC net. That means if you study seriously, even the entire syllabus that is the part of your 2 years degree program, then at least you will get knowledge related to that particular field that you will be able to clear net examination. So so when one should fill the form for net examination and write the net examination, my suggestion is that someone who is pursuing the master's degree and the person is in has written the second semester examination, then student should try for filling the form and writing the net examination, because there is very much a possibility that you will qualify the examination, uh, though whatever your teachers are teaching you in the class during that particular master degree course is not sufficient in a sense, because they are covering syllabus related to master's degree program, but net syllabus is larger than the syllabus that is generally there in master's degree program. So you need to give extra time and extra effort to cover the syllabus that is not covered by the teachers in a regular degree. Now for that um, lots of books are available. Then libraries they have lots of good books, but my suggestion is that you need to stick to not more than 3-4 books. Now why is it so? Because what I have seen a trend in many young students and researchers, generally they download books. Thousands of books are there in their hard drive, but when it comes to how many books you have read, then they will name only few, one or two, or more than 3-4. That is the case. Now when it comes to a book, then I think Milton once said somewhere that a book is a precious lifeblood of an author. That means even if you read one book uh, by one author, uh, then that is again a huge thing. It's a good thing. But when I say you read an entire book, that means word by word. Not only you have read it, but you have understood the essence of that book. So when it comes to net examination, then you must read. Let's say it comes to English literature, or let's say linguistics, then history of English literature, then at least like one history of English literature. Now so many books are available of history of English literature. Which book I should go for? This might be the question in your mind. Standard one. Standard one, that means like the books which are published by standard publication house. Which are standard publication house? So Routledge is like one standard publication house. So if you find the book published by Routledge, so Routledge History of English Literature, if you find, then you must go for that book. Oxford University Press is another one standard publication house. Then Cambridge University Press is another such. Palgrave publication, Palgrave Macmillan publication. So these books are there. So you can take either the Cambridge History of English Literature, Oxford History of English Literature, Palgrave History of English Literature. So lots of books are available, but you need to select one book and try to finish that particular one book, because it also shows your consistency. Because if you jump from one book to another book, then third book, then fourth book, then fifth book, then it shows like you are not consistent. And even if you are not consistent even in your choice of a book, then you can then how can you be consistent uh, in the studies, like in your preparation? So that means like first you need to be very selective. Okay, one book I have selected for, I have selected for, let's say, history of English literature. Another book like related to introduction to criticism and literary theory. Then let's say introduction to Australian literature, Canadian literature, American literature. So these type of books, and one general book. Why general? Because one paper is general as well. So sometimes it happens like students say they are so engrossed in their respective fields of study that they do not give time to the general paper. And the general paper is also very important, because the marks that you obtain in a general paper, they also count. So a balanced approach you need to adopt. That means like it is not the case like for first 20 days you are only reading American literature, then another 20 days you are simply reading general. You need to divide your time, like okay, 1 hour time or 1.5 hour time I'll give to this study, 1.5 hour time I will give to this topic and this subject. So likewise you need to go for. At the same time, what I have seen that nowadays, because students they read on computers, laptops, they read on iPad and mobile phone, they have lost this habit of preparing notes. Now preparing notes is always a good habit, because something you are writing in your own handwriting. So that is very important, and your handwriting is the best way through which you can connect yourself. Because what you see in a book, that is electronic font. Even if that electronic font, how much you highlight it, but again it will remain a virtual reality. It will not become more real to you, what type of whatever type of things that you will do to that. So always better that you keep one notebook handy, and you try to make notes. Now notes is not, when I talk about notes, then I am talking about that you are actually writing notes. It's not the same thing you are jotting it down. Same thing is like 5 lines there, they are there in the book, and you are writing the 5 lines as it is. Now this is not the essence of note taking. Note taking is something different. Note taking is, if something is given in 500 words, are you able to write the same 500 something that is in 500 words in 50 words? That you need to think of. And once you write that thing in 50 words, that means once you read it afterwards, then you can recall the entire 500 words thing that you have read. So that type of note taking ability you need to develop. Then there are various methods through which you can make notes. For example, one such method is mind mapping method is there. Another method is a T-sheet. Fine. Another method is the visualizers. So these are different methods, note taking methods. And these note taking methods, and about them you can also on Google, if you don't have much knowledge about them. uh, some echo, I think some echo is coming. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So these are note-taking methods that you can have a look on internet, and on internet you will find like how you can prepare good notes. So that type of thing is there. So this system, this consistency, this regularity is very important, and you should not wait that okay, first I will clear my master's examination, then I will start my net. Because if your approach is like this, then you won't be able to clear net examination. Your approach must be from the very first day when you enter for your master's degree program, that okay, side by side I need to prepare my notes, because there are lots of distractions as well. I understand at this age that lots of distractions are there, and serious study is always a disciplined thing. So if you think like easy going and education is fun, so these maxims, these metaphors, once you hear, then it is fine, like a slogan. But actually, if you want to achieve something, then you need to be very much disciplined. You need to ask yourself each day, what do I want from my life? If the answer is I want to become an assistant professor, fine. I want to be a faculty in a university, I want to be a teacher in a college, then it is fine. So that type of answer if you get, then you should seriously start studying for net examination. So this is about all about net, and lots of things are there, but I will also talk about how one should prepare for PhD entrance examination. Now, as I already mentioned, that in certain institutes like IITs, net is compulsory thing. So without net, you can't apply for IITs. Even if you apply, then no one will shortlist you. That is one thing. Now the second thing is, there are certain universities, they conduct their own PhD entrance examination. But you need to understand that UGC has limited the seat under faculty members. Now, what is this limitation? For example, if a faculty is assistant professor, then the assistant professor can only take 4 candidates. Associate can take 6 candidates, and a full-fledged professor can take 8 candidates. That means there is a possibility that university is university is advertising for PhD entrance examination, but generally university, they won't mention how many seats are available. If only one seat is available, then also they will say okay, apply for PhD. So that is a trap. That is a trap, but there is no solution for that, because the actual figure you do not know. So there is a possibility that only for one PhD seat, hundreds of candidates are writing examination. There is also very much a possibility that the 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 professor has already promised some other candidate that I will take you, because once there is PhD entrance examination, then after there is a Viva as well. So there is very much a possibility that in Viva you are got deselected. And why is it so? Because PhD is not like other degrees like master's degree. Because in a master's degree there are 30 students, there are 60 students, but in a PhD there is only one, and you need to work in close association with your PhD supervisor. So there is very much a possibility that a professor who has already seen a student in past 2 years in the master's degree, professor may prefer that over you. So that is very much a possibility, because once you write something and then you clear the entrance examination, and even if you clear the Viva, but again there is a possibility that you are not compatible, or like you two are not compatible to each other. For example, like what you saying, or what you want to do, like your professor wants to do something different. So that type of mutual understanding is very important. Otherwise otherwise what will happen, like there is a tussle, there is always a fight between you and your supervisor, and I have seen that people they change their supervisor afterward. So all this process is not easy. So the first thing is, once you are going for PhD entrance examination, before that, at least you try to explore the university. Like, this is the university, this is the department, these are the faculty members, what are their field of, let's say, expertise, all such things. And even like sometimes phone number is also available or email ID is also available on website. So it is always preferable that you need to prepare a proposal. That proposal is not final. You need to prepare a proposal. Why you need to prepare a proposal? You just prepare a proposal and send it to a prospective supervisor. Why you need to do this activity before writing the entrance examination? Because you need to show that I am a serious researcher, or I will be a serious researcher. So if you take me, then I will not be a headache, but I will be a good researcher. Because there are so many behavioral issues associated with everyone, with professors as well, with students as well. And generally, in order to avoid future conflict, it is always better that you write to them that if there is some vacancy, this is my topic, what do you think about this topic, should I write the entrance examination? Uh, so gradually you will come to know that the supervisor is interested in taking you. So that will ensure that even like once you are in the viva after clearing the entrance examination, then there is a chance, because generally 1 is to 10 is the ratio. Sometimes like let's say there is one seat, but in the viva they will call 10 students, but the seat is only one. So now the chances is very minimum or very less. So no one wants to take an unknown candidate, particularly for PhD, because PhD is not like 1 year affair, 2 year affair. Generally it takes on an average 4 to 5 years. So 4 to 5 years is also uh, a big duration of your life. So that is like some compatibility is there with the supervisor, then it is always beneficial for you that you can work smoothly. So sometimes there is a conflict related to area of interest. You want to do something else and your professor is interested in something else. So that type of conflict you can save, you can avoid once you have a rapport with the certain supervisor. Now this is not the thing like you are only contacting one person, but you need to contact many people, because even there is a possibility that you write to them and you won't receive any response. Fine. So there is very much a possibility. So you should not just wait endlessly that okay, I have dropped a mail, I have talked to one person, and and you need to apply for many universities as well. So you are applying for NITs as well, you are applying for Central University as well, you are applying for State University as well, because nowadays education has become an investment. So you need to apply, then you need to just attach the demand draft. So you need to spend some money on this process as well. Once you secure the PhD seat, then it is fine. But till you don't secure a PhD seat, then always this is a thing that is there that you need to keep in mind. So these things are associated with PhD entrance examination as well. You need to write many entrance examination because it is clear, and you also need to understand that how is my interviewing skills, how is my presentation skills, because certain people they are very good in writing, so they can clear the entrance examination, but when it comes to express themselves, then they are very poor. So all such things you need to take care of. But how can you make a better candidate than the other? Let's say 50 people, 50 students, they have applied for a PhD seat. Now how can you make yourself different from those 50 people? Now first thing is, if you are net qualified, then again you are not the part of a crowd, because if we assume that everyone does uh, masters, then someone who is net qualified or JRF, that is like somewhat different from the crowd. Second thing is, try to publish at least one paper in your masters. Now how can you do that? You can do that because in reputed universities, in good universities, generally we have dissertation writing in the final semester. So you must try to publish a paper out of your dissertation. So do your dissertation very seriously, and you need to think of that how can a paper can be published from this, because a paper publication at that particular stage will also give you an extra edge, an upper edge over the other students. So they, and particularly not in any journal, but try to publish your paper in some good journal, particularly indexed in Scopus, or if it is not SCI. So and it's not easy to publish in Scopus and SCI, because many faculty members, they find it difficult to publish in Scopus and SCI. So the quality of that paper must be there. How this thing will happen now? It won't happen that one fine day you write something and it is published in Scopus or SCI. Before sending your paper that is coming out from your dissertation, you need to ask yourself how many actually published paper I have read till date. So where can you find good papers? You can find good papers at various websites. So one such website is JSTOR. You can find good papers at JSTOR. And other websites are some are like online also available. DOAJ, Directory of Online Access Journals. So there you find hundreds and thousands of journals and paper published in DOAJ. They are also of good quality. So you can just download those papers, read those papers, so you will come to know how to write a paper actually, because there are very technical issues associated with paper writing, abstract writing, forming a hypothesis, fine, and then making a statement. Then many people I know that they do not know how to write a paragraph. So and they do not know how to do paraphrase. So you need to make sure that these things you are thorough. They do not know how to cite, so you need to know like what is Chicago style sheet, what is MLA style sheet, what is APA style sheet. All these informations are available on Google or on net, but it is like how you take advantage of this online information. Because as I said, like, study is always a disciplined field. It is not fun. So if you take it as a fun, then obviously you make yourself a funny character, that's all. But if you want to make yourself a serious person, a serious academician, then you need to think of in that direction from day one you enter for the master's examination. So these are various issues that I have discussed which are related to NET JRF. And many people, those uh, uh, who those who fail to clear NET JRF during their master's program, then they go for some coaching institute, because they do not know like how to study. Coaching institute is again like, because your money is involved, because you are investing your money in a coaching institute, then you automatically become regular. If you have given 30,000, 40,000 to a coaching institute, then you automatically become regular. So choice is yours. How you want to be regular? You want to be self-regular, or you want to be forced regular? That is yours. They will provide you some notes, and you will also get company of other students once you join some coaching institute. So certain people, they need that type of motivation, that okay, not alone, not only I am studying, but other people are also studying. So that type of environment you will get in a coaching institute, but preferably try to clear your NET examination during your masters, because you have not that much of time. Because as I said, like generally a PhD takes 5 years time on an average. So 5 years is hell of a lot, because after 5 years you will come to the job market, and there is no guarantee that uh, like immediately coming out immediately after PhD you will get a job. So there is a possibility like in a year, 2 year, 3 year, you will get a job. So these things you need to do, and that is from my end. And if you have any query, I will answer that. uh, okay, thank you. Over to you, Keshav.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you so much, sir. You dealt with so many issues that our students, our means participants always face, and what should they do? You dealt with all those things. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing such nice experiences. that I think you have gone through and you see in the society, in the college and in the institutions and with the students. And thank you so much, sir. And now, without wasting time, I would now like to move to Nishar Bhattacharjee, sir. Uh, I would like to introduce him. He's a research scholar. He is doing his research from his JRF and he is doing his research from the English and Foreign Language University, Hyderabad. He has qualified NET twice and WBSET West Bengal State Eligibility Test as well. He had formerly been a lecturer at a number of colleges in and around Kolkata. He has completed his graduation, masters and MPhil in English from University of Calcutta. He is the author of several articles and books, chapters in national and international journals and books. His area of interest includes late modernist and postmodern literature, particularly poetry. He has also published poems in several anthologies. Now, I would like to go to Nisarga Bhattacharjee sir. He'll be sharing his experiences and some tips, some guidance to all these participants who have come and joined this experts talk to get something. Nisarga sir, it is over to you. Now kindly share your thoughts.
Thank you, Shekhar sir, for the introduction. Uh, and thank you, Amitabh sir, for the wonderful explanation about the entire system of NET and college uh, and administration, teaching in college, all these things, how PhD uh, education happens and everything. Uh, in our experience regarding NET, the students of NET, they often go for the 10 years, 20 years question papers that they solve, and they come with questions that they sort of prepared themselves with. That's one of the main sort of process through which we learn to attempt NET. And it's true that when we go through these those previous year question papers, we see certain patterns in those question papers. Now there are syllabus provided by the UGC regarding NET, like which topics will be coming in NET. We see that out of the 10 topics, maybe 5 or 6 topics become important every year. For example, this net, which happened just yesterday, we saw a prevalence of English literature, question from English literature. Indian literature was relatively lower in number. Question from Indian literature. Now the fact is that this pattern keeps changing for NET, which is a problem for majority of students because they expect a pattern from NET and then every exam the pattern changes. So as a result, what is needed is that the student stays prepared for all 10 of those topics from NET so that any pattern does not scare them. Now, this change of pattern happens every year. Uh, Oftentimes, it's because of the many institutions that carry out NET. Because right now it's NTA that's um, preparing the NET question papers. Previously, it was CBSE that was preparing the NET question papers. So the attitude, the approach to the questions changes because of the institutions, and we cannot expect a certain pattern in the next NET exam. Therefore, we have to be prepared on all fronts. Now, Amitabh sir rightly pointed out that our MA education is not enough. It's not sufficient for preparing us on all topics regarding NET. It can prepare us for, in most MA courses, it prepares us for the English literature topics. But when it comes to literary criticism, when it comes to Indian literature, American literature, or African literature, many courses are not that well equipped to make the students able to answer those topics. Even more so in case of research methodology, which forms a major part of NET question papers. Research methodology, linguistics, these are topics that you have to learn once you have completed MA or learn separately while pursuing your MA courses. So as a result, you need a overall uh, preparation process that addresses every topic that's there in NET. And this goes for not just the second paper, which is what the English students appear in, but also for the first paper, which is common for all NET aspirants. The first paper is important for every NET aspirant because the general paper has the same number of topics that everyone answers in, and we have to prepare for all of them in different patterns. Now, regarding preparations, the thing is there is nothing different between those who have got NET and who are preparing for NET and have not got it yet. There's nothing special between separating the two people. It's just the method of preparation, how diligent you are as a student, how regularly you are preparing for NET. Often you need motivation, which does not just arrive from inside but also comes from outside. Especially if you are a MA student who has completed MA and then you have a lack of motivation because you're no more part of an institution, then it's needed that you motivate yourself in some process or other, and then you find a process by which you prepare for it. Now this method may differ from individual to individual. For example, every individual's brain functions in a different manner. There are different forms of preparation. For example, broadly speaking, some people like to memorize things in the form of a map. Others like to memorize things in form of details, in terms of details. For example, uh, Keats in his letters says that my mind functions like it pulls an apron string and then pearls come out. Like I'll think of the milkmaid, and from the milkmaid, I'll think of Shakespeare. From Shakespeare to Hazlitt to Wordsworth. Like this, my mind functions like a map. It goes from one topic to another. So, generally speaking, this is the inductive mode of inductive mode of thinking that forms a map, overall map in which every topic is related to each other. Now, we had certain chronology questions this year, and in case you're not familiar with the birth dates of particular persons, still you can place those individuals in a map on the periods of English literature. Once you have the periods as a map in your head, you can still place those individuals. So that's one process. You similarly know that Hazlitt comes after Shakespeare. Shakespeare comes before Hazlitt, and Wordsworth comes almost contemporary to Hazlitt. This is a certain pattern. The second pattern I will speak of, the pattern with details, is more akin to that of Sherlock Holmes, or what a detective performs. Like it will focus on certain details. Like if you are going on a road and you know which tree is there on the road, I'll turn left with up, upon sighting this particular tree. So you have to find out which approach suits your brain. Uh, and it's also about the topic. For example, in case of philosophy, you cannot do a detail wise memorization, as it has been said that Plato, every bit of Western philosophy is a footnote to Plato. Now, this net, we had questions on Plato, and we have to remember that all of philosophy is connected in a very linear fashion, not necessarily linear, but in a traditional fashion. So, you cannot understand, for example, Descartes without knowing Plato. You cannot understand Husserl without knowing Descartes. This does not apply for literature. For example, you can just simply take up a book. You can take up Mark Twain and read it without remembering what uh, Washington once said in the history of American literature. You can take up Paulo Coelho and read it without knowing what Borges has said. But you cannot take up Husserl and read it without knowing what Descartes said some 300 years back. So the reading method for literature and philosophy differs. Same with criticism or theory, it differs with the stream. So you have to specialize in the mode of thinking and studying. We generally think of NET as an objective type examination. It's true that the questions are objective. In spite of them, the understanding you need is subjective in many cases. Without subjective form of reading, you cannot answer NET questions, because even though there are MCQ questions, you need to understand, analyze those questions. As a result, what you need to do is study the previous year question papers, answer mock questions regularly, so that you find out the pattern for you, what suits you best. What is the best way you can memorize things, understand things? You have to find out the best pattern, and that is done always through regular solving question papers, and also, as Amitabh sir pointed out, through regularly making notes, because that's how you memo create a list of things that is of your own nature. It's the note you make is a reflection of your own personality. That's how you arrange your own thoughts. Now, that's I think are some important points. Other than that, I also like to point out that net changes its patterns, its attitude with the change of like the psychology of institutions. For example, uh, the research questions have increased in number because in CBSE, CBCS syllabuses that has been implemented recently, you see that assignments have to be now prepared. So even in BA courses, we have assignments. Am I being audible?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
audible. Someone is disturbed.
Yeah. Okay. So even in BA courses, you now have assignments. So as a result, NET wants that those people who have qualified NET already know how to make assignments, already know how to write research papers, so that the BA examination, sorry, the BA students as well can prepare assignments. Similarly, it wants the qualifying people to have research background. So it wants them to be familiar with, for example, the MLA or the Chicago Manual. So in this manner, those questions have appeared, and generally not in all MA courses, but in many of the master's courses, these topics are not addressed. So as a result, you need to separately prepare for NET. It's separate examination altogether. You must not think that if you have gained good marks in your master's examinations, you can also automatically gain good marks in your MA examinations. Though that's my observation regarding NET. And lastly, I would like to point out the fact that the mental preparation and the psychological preparation for NET is very important. If you give mock questions, if you assign, for example, 1.5 hours, prepare a set of questions, or gain a set of questions from somewhere, sit in a room and answer those questions on the computer, then already you have prepared for NET. Because when, for example, if you are a first time NET aspirants, if you go to the NET examination hall, it is something you have never seen before. There you have computers, there you have uh, question papers on the internet, you have a set of instructions that you haven't heard before. It is an alien atmosphere, and you have to be comfortable in that atmosphere. If you are not comfortable in such an atmosphere, then you won't have a calm mind, and you won't be able to think calmly. You won't be able to recollect things. If you are nervous, then your mind won't function, and in NET, memory is everything. In NET, memory makes up, decides what you who are those people who would qualify net and who are those people who won't qualify net, because there are these pointers in the question paper that remind you that yes, this is the option that coordinates with the question. It might not be that you know the exact answer, that the question is not common to you. For example, say you might not know that Wolfgang Iser is a reader response critic, but you might know that reader response criticism appeared in the 1960s and Wolfgang Iser has written in the 1960s. So, uh, by deduction, either must be a reader response critic rather than, say, a neoclassical critic. So you have to make those deductions during the net examinations, and you cannot make those deductions unless you have a calm mind. So the psychological preparation is very important. And of course, as Amitabh sir has pointed out, paper one is very important because uh, no matter how well you prepare for paper two, there is a margin of errors that is almost common for every uh, NET aspirant. There is a common marks, I mean a mean marks that uh, every score revolves around on paper 2. But paper 1 makes the difference. You can achieve 80 or you can achieve 20 for paper 1. It makes the difference in many cases. So that's often a very underestimated aspect of net. So those are my
Thank
insights.
Hello, hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. Thank you, Nisarga. You. Hello. I'm getting my voice back. Hello. Huh. Uh, Wait. Thank you so much, sir. You went through so many points that were very important for these listeners, these participants, related with the things that they should follow. The main thing that you said, that we should be in proper comfortable zone. We should keep making notes and all the things. Thank you so much, sir. We have so many questions from the participants that we will attend those questions later on. Now I would like to move to Amrit Mishra, sir. He is a junior research fellow at the Department of English, literature, English and foreign language in Hyderabad. He has also qualified Maharashtra. He has six international academic publications and two sets of poetry of his credit. He is currently working on existentialism and India, and has wide-ranging interest in phenomenology and culture. He dedicates his success to the fond of memory of his late father, Sambhavi Mishra, and other. Uh, I would like to tell one thing, that these three speakers whom I have invited for this lecture, they are doing very nice job. They have just initiated a class, Ashutosh Care, and this Ashutosh Care dedication means uh, it is Ashutosh was his their profession, and on his name they have started a class. They are helping to the students. Really, I was very much inspired, and I was very much fascinated. And thank you so much for initiating such a nice initiative. Now I would like to move to. It is going to be over to Amrit Mishra sir, and this is start.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Am I clearly
Yes, yes,
audible?
audible.
Yeah.
Yes,
Can
you
you
are
just
audible.
have the audio muted so that there is no echo? Yeah. The thing that I would like to start with JRF discussion. I've already had excellent speakers speak before me. Amitabh sir pointed out some important things, and then Nisarga went on to expound how you practically do it. Now, I would like to first of all emphasize that the NET JRF exam is on a large basis a history of 20 centuries. So you have to understand that this history is not your own history. You are studying the history of England, which means you need to be aware of what kind of people you're reading about. That is one major thing which is required, the awareness of the culture. The second thing, when you refer to books, I would not, in my understanding, suggest that you must go through one or the other book entirely. There are some basic primer readers like W.H. Hudson, which I would suggest every net aspirant to study for the full, because it's a 120, 160 pages book. But if you pick up Albert, I would not say that you go for the full book, because going for the full book takes a lot of time and often takes you away from the confidence of doing the exam. That's one thing. Second, practicing the exam should be done only after you have had a certain amount of experience of reading the things. Now we have the internet, and internet has everything available. All we need to learn is how to use the internet as a resource. So you have to kind of know which sites to trust and which sites not to trust, and that is possible only when you first learn how to judge which content is better. So whenever you read a paragraph, try to judge whether that paragraph is superficial or opinionated. If a paragraph is superficial or opinionated, then you better be distanced from it. Because number one, NET is a factual exam largely. It asks, still is asking for dates and other things. So you have to filter out the books that you are reading for the kind of data that you want. That's one thing. Second, you have to be very cautious of not just the last year papers, but what is happening around you in the field of English literature. For instance, the Hindu comes up with a very interesting column on literature every week. Times of India comes up with its own literary supplement. So these literary supplements should become your friend for kind of your net preparation. You should be aware that these are the things which will give you that extra mile. Everybody knows that you have to read W.H. Hudson or you have to read David Dacius. These books, the major problem what happens with students is they get scared looking at the thickness of the books. These are like 400 pages books. So the art that you have to learn is how to cut through the density of that book. And in order to do that, you need to have certain reading techniques. The best reading technique that I have used, best for me, again, these are different for different people. For me, the best reading technique was the keyword reading technique. So whenever I read a paragraph, I try to still find out the keywords that has been emphasized upon in the paragraph. If you are reading a research article, for instance, for a detailed information on a particular topic, then the article already mentions certain keywords. If you are reading a history of literature, then the contents will do the same thing for you. So the first thing that you need to do is to have a division of the history of English literature in your mind. You need to know that 17th century is Augustan age. There is no second option for that. So you need to first have a chart of 16th century to 20th century clear in your mind. 21st century is the postmodern world or the contemporary world, whichever way you want to mention it. Now, what is happening in the BA and MA class teaching in most of the state universities specifically is that different teachers come up with different sections of the history of literature, and the students are generally confused about which section should they start with. But I would like to emphasize that this is a history of just a country whose literature we are being taught. And I'm not talking right now about the literatures of the world as it is referred to. I'm just talking of British literature, which is the major portion of NET exam right now. So, first of all, we need to know the history of England, and then accordingly, when you read the history of literature with the background of history of England in your mind, then you're better able to cope up with the facts that are mentioned there. For instance, if you're reading something on Renaissance and you know what Renaissance was, then you can fix a Spencer kind of character in your mind. So what I mean is you will go beyond factual mugging in that. Once you know that what kind of a person a Spencer could have been or a Sydney could have been, even if you have not remembered the exact fact, chances are that you will make an educated guess in the exam because you're aware of the milieu of that particular writer. That is why it is very important to read about the movements that are mentioned, and that is why we recently conducted our entrance exam for Ashutosh first batch, and we included those kinds of questions. So the point is that we want all NET JRF aspirants to be incisive. Incisive approach is very important. You have to know how to separate fact from propaganda. every writer is subjective in some sense. He will be writing, for example, if a French writer is writing, he will have a tendency to give more space in his writing to French viewpoints. But if you are an Indian reader and you are aware that you're going to give that exam in India, you can always expect questions from Indian literature. It is true that in this exam there weren't many, but if you look at the general tone of the NET JRF question papers, you will see a lot of Indian literature questions cropping up. And not just that, if you look at the NET exam, just as one degree which you want to do for assistant professor position, then it's a short-sighted view. I believe that the NET examination should, or the JRF examination for that matter, should be the stepping stone for taking you to the PhD entrance examinations. And the whole reading that you do should be expansive, therefore. The moment you start in your, I would say, MA first year, not the MA second year, because if you are focused enough, by the end of MA second year, luckily I was able to make a sense of what my teachers actually taught me in the 5 years of BA and MA. So your approach should start from MA first year, and by the time you've reached your second last semester, you should be aware of what are the major areas and how to deal with them. One way to do that is to go beyond what is taught in your college. And how to go beyond? I would suggest that most of you should take subscriptions of either a library near your home, and in the COVID situation, I know it's not possible, so I would advise that you take some online library subscription and you go on reading at least one book a week. As Amitabh Shah mentioned, that a lot of people have digital books, but they don't end up reading. It's not that it's because of digital books or it is about the form of a book in your hand. What you need to do is to focus on certain elements. How do you focus on certain elements? You know that net is going to ask you facts. You know that net is going to ask you questions about why a particular king thought a certain way in a particular play of Shakespeare, hypothetically speaking. So you have to generate those kind of self-questioning habits when you read a text. It should not be that only when you go to a sample paper, then you are able to understand, okay, these kinds of questions can crop up. When you are reading the text itself, you should slowly be able to generate the possibility of finding the questions which might appear from that particular page you are reading. And in my experience, I would tell you that every page that you read at least has two questions that can appear in a NET or a GRE examination. So my suggestion would be that a student should prepare for not just the NET examination, but he should actually prepare for the GRE examination. If you look at the pattern of NET right now, they have already come up with the comprehension kind of questions which were not there in the previous examinations, which means that it expects you to be able to understand the reason why a certain kind of writing style is taken up by an author. Now, what do you do to create that kind of skill? You read a lot. Once you read a lot, you have read from different cultures, and then you have certain confidence. Once you have read, I promise you, if you have read 100 books in your year, you will have the kind of confidence which it requires not just for NET, but a very good central university in India. Now, I will add a few more things about how to tackle the examination when you're already close to the exam. Uh, when you are close to the exam, you cannot only depend on sample papers. By that time, you already have strengths and weaknesses in your preparation strategy. You will feel that you are able and good at certain areas and weak at certain areas. In my preparation strategy, I start with the weaker areas first when I already have enough time. For example, if I have 6 months to prepare for an exam and I'm weak at, let's say, the ancient English literature, then I'll study ancient English literature quite before the exam. I will read the things which I'm more confident at towards the end of the exam. What it does for me is it psychologically makes me more confident about going to the exam and answering these questions. See, the NET JARP exam is basically, I would not say that this exam is to be taught. JRF, for that matter, is a push from net. Of course, it requires some sort of attention, but I don't feel that there is something specifically differentiating us from anyone who has done a net or who has not done a net for that matter. It is just about focus and detailed focus. So, how do you do that detailed focus? my strategy was that I first worked on areas which I was already confident about, and I finished those areas. Towards the end, I found that there are some areas that I'm weak at, and by the time that I started finishing my weak areas and I had done 80%, I realized that only 20% is I have not done. So even if you go into the exam with 20% of the portion not done, and you're not terribly unlucky, chances are that you will come up with a good net score or probably a JRF score. Remember that do not go into the exam with any sort of anxiety or the desire to top the exam, or the intention to increase your scores again and again. I have seen a trend among JRF aspirants to keep repeating the exam. As I mentioned, the intention should be that you should be able to read literature so deeply that you enroll for a PhD, not just in India or maybe even abroad. So these are the ways. So how do you go about doing it? When you read a book, you first look at the argumentative style of the author so that you have a first-hand understanding of the book. Do not go for a descriptive analysis of the book which is given in the history of literature. What happens is most of the students begin the preparations in hurry, and therefore they will go for superficial details which will actually betray you in the examination. Slowly what is happening with the net is it is becoming more and more analytical, and if you have to give analytical answers, you have to have the analytical capability. In order to develop the analytical capability, you have to have reading skills and I would say fishing skills. When I say fishing skills, it means you need to find out what the examiner might offer you in the question paper. Now, I would not say that anyone has the magic wand to guess 90% of the question papers. But once you have read expansively, chances are that you will succeed at the exam. That's one. And learning from previous year's papers, I would say that that should be used only for timing purpose. I would not say that you take the previous year's papers biblically. You have to understand that these are already previous year's papers, and there's a smart examiner waiting for you there. So you use those papers just to keep your timing strategy up to date, and then you go beyond that and you read things which you know that may not come, but if it comes, it's your lucky day. So you always have to be in this uh, cat and mouse game with NetJRF. It is nobody's given mantra. You have to keep practicing. One, and the other thing again that I would focus on is regular practice. Now, what are the sources? Internet is full of sources. Harvard University has put out a lot of lectures for net aspirants and for literature enthusiasts. First thing, that you need to be a literature enthusiast. Net is just one examination. It is not the examination. It has become the examination because of the kind of university system that we study in. Speaking a little bit about PhD examinations, uh, I would say that central universities are quite unbiased in their approach to the selection of PhD candidates. That's what I experienced and Nisarga experienced from our experience at IFLU, and what I spoke with Payal. She will be able to elaborate more on that. But you are expected to do is you are expected to crack a very difficult interview. Now, what do I mean with this difficulty? This difficulty is that you should be able to convince the interview board about the validity of your topic. Now, no topic is absolutely valid or absolutely invalid. You have to find out the reasons to show that a certain topic is valid. My topic, existentialism, has been written on since 1960s, but I took an element which has to do with India. Now, this is something which has been done in very, very specific universities in India. One day I was actually trying to find out how many people have written about India and existentialism in India. So you find merely one or two universities doing that. So no research is absolutely pure. We are not in science. What you need to do is you need to find some niche where you are comfortable with, and that topic should be such that you fall in love with that topic. It could be personal reasons that make you fall in love with that topic. It could be your supervisor who inspires you. And the second thing is about the choice of the supervisor. The main thing that I feel is the temperamental match, because the other things can be negotiated. You know, your timelines can be negotiated. You can go and tell your senior supervisor or principal, please let me have this date. That can be done later on. But if your supervisor is emotionally attached to you, there are chances that he will allow you the leeway that you require or the space that you require to work. So these are the two things that I would have to say about PhD preparations. it is not something hilarious or unique that separates us. It's just sheer hard work, I would say. When I was preparing for my JRF examinations, I left my university for a month and came back and studied. So you have to not pack yourself up. Again, saying that you totally cut out your social life and read just books like a bookworm, that won't help. You need to be open minded. You need to let things come into you and then slowly use those things when the exam happens. Speaking about paper one in that line, paper one is a sort of test of your awareness of the field of education and of the field of your general ability to negotiate through language and mathematics for that matter. So what you need to do is you need to have good aptitude skills, and the best way to do that is to prepare for MBA examinations. I was one of the MBA aspirants before I did my NET JRF, so I had quite a background of how to deal with English. I am still not good at maths, again, you can pick your areas. My approach to the exam is that you can pick your areas. Every section, even in paper one, has limitations. You have 5 questions from every section, so you can work on your strengths. As I said, my general strategy is that you work on your strengths and let your weaknesses come into your psychology towards the end of the exam or near the date of the exam. And one day before the exam, I would say just chill out and meet your friends, meet people who have good things to say to you, and go and give the exam. You get lucky and you get the exam. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nishag sir, means Amrit Misra sir, and you dealt with the things that we do, but not in a proper manner. We read we read history of English literature. We go through the same book, but how we go through that, that does not benefit us. So you just taught us, you just told, shared that how should we just read the history of English literature and which site we should go through, and how should we prepare for PhD, and how should we, how can we select the topics of our research. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your wonderful thoughts and your experiences. And first-hand experiences are very means beneficial, and we are getting your experiences. That's very nice. Now I would like to move to our next speaker. She is Payal Priya ma'am, and let me tell you that Payal Priya ma'am is means she's one thing that I found very nice in her, that she's just has initiated very nice work, that she has given very wonderful and very nice gratitude to his teacher by initiated a means initiated to care the students by Ashutesh Care. Thank you so much, Payal ma'am. And now I would like to introduce Payal ma'am. Uh, Payal Priya is a junior research fellow at Center of English Studies, Jawaharlal Nehru University. She has presented papers and talks nationally and internationally. Her papers are selected for publication in international and national journals. She has published her poems, short takes, a writing workshop for Umran. She has she has been a part of amateur theatre at college and is trained in dance and is trying to bring centered around culture and performance studies. She has also been a language trainer for more than 5 years now and has taught students from India and abroad too. Thank you so much, ma'am, that we are going to listen you, and you means given your consent for giving lecture in this expert talk. Now I would like to invite you, kindly share your experiences and thoughts and guidance and expertise and tips that these participants can follow, and they can just feel some relaxed after the lecture. Means they are confused. They are means we face a lot of problem while doing research, while doing preparation. So kindly share your thoughts.
Okay, first of all, thank you, Shekhar, for inviting us. And I was also kind of enriched by listening to others. So thank you, all of you, for coming here and talking to the students, because I have also been a student and I'm a scholar, I'm a student still. So I know how things can be really confusing and confounding, because there is so much information, and this becomes difficult to shift what is valuable and what is just there for promotion or just there for confusing us. So the thing is that I think mostly things have been said. What I am doing is I'm dividing the timeline in three. First, I'll talk of PG and UG students who are still in their graduation or post-graduation years and who are planning to pursue NET. Then I'll talk of those who have cleared their post-graduation and are going to sit for NET examination, or have taken this examination and are again planning to take it. And then for those who are here for for advice on how to clear a PhD entrance exam and how to present or things around academic writing and how to present one's paper and how to defend one's paper. So let me begin with saying this, that if you are still a postgraduate and an undergraduate student and you are here, you have surely began early, and this is a good thing. Why? Because people have, like, usually the approach that okay, UG, PG is something different, and then NET is altogether something different, and PhD is a different species. That is incorrect, according to me. In my approach, I would try to kind of connect the dots. So I'll just give you an example. I picked up the syllabus of certain universities, and I found, for example, there is this Robert Browning will always be there in your syllabus. So you'll either have the Last Duchess or you'll have Rabbi Ben Ezra. What you can do, and what I did in my graduation years, I would not be bounded by this syllabus. I would go and read other poems. Perhaps I would read Andre del Sarto by Robert Browning, and again try to fit it in the canon. So what happens is that this approach helps you to remember better. This approach helps you to frame better answers, even for your post-graduation, undergraduation exams that you will be taking in your universities. You will be able to frame better answers if you just don't stick to the poems that are there in your syllabus and rather do a comparative study. So you'll have a better understanding, and from that better understanding will come a better, more comprehensive answer. This will also help you in your NET, because NET is about kind of reading more and reading selectively, but again, reading more. So you have to be selective, but you have to also be a very avid and very voracious reader. One thing that I think, one thing that we need to focus on, and that is kind of lacking in many universities, is the entire focus on language and comprehension, or the way of reading. How should we read? I have met many students. I also taught for NET JRF, and I have met many students who would say that when we come across critical writings by Derrida or Foucault or Barthes, it's difficult for us to understand. Now, why is it difficult? It's difficult because we have not been taught to read. One thing that we need to develop is a reading habit, and I can tell you that even NET is focusing more on comprehensive skills. Now like the paper that the paper that happened on first, if I'm not wrong, actually focuses on your comprehensive skills. So they have just increased the number of questions that test your comprehensive skill. So reading is one thing that you need to learn how to read. And how do you develop that habit? By reading daily, or because you have taken up literature, and if you're serious about literature, you should be a voracious reader. That is what I feel. So next thing, I think someone was asking about books, and lot many things have been said about history of English literature per se. So I'll just say that when you're reading history of English literature, try to remember three things. First, the historical timeline. Second, what all political activities happen in these timelines, and how these political activities affect the literary production of that age. Also, you can write the major writers and the minor writers, but these three things are very important to understand English, at least English literature from the Norman Conquest to the Edwardian period, at least you should begin with that. That would give you a certain understanding. When it comes to other areas which have, I think, not been discussed and which are actually shadowed areas, are literary criticism, literary theory, and language pedagogy and English in India. And these and questions were asked this time from all these 4 sections. So it's really sad that university syllabus, mostly I went through 5 university syllabus, central universities and a private university also, but I found that what was lacking was the emphasis on linguistics or the emphasis of English as a language in India. So I'll just tell you a few things or just guide you how you can approach these sections, because these sections have not been discussed. So if you want to start with a basic knowledge of English literary theory, you can go to, obviously you start with M.H. Abrams, because anyone will tell you that M.H. Abrams is the go-to book. Then you can also go to other, select. Now see, there is a basic book and then there is a book which kind of is there to build on that knowledge. This book you have to select according to yourselves. It should be from a good production house, a good publication house, obviously, but then the language should be such that it is accessible to you. Don't pick up a David Dacius just because everyone is telling you to do so and you don't understand a thing about it. See, if I can understand the language of Dacius, then perhaps I can make notes and I can understand it better and it will help me. But if you cannot understand the language of the person, then it becomes difficult for you to kind of go to that book and understand that book and then kind of assimilate it into your knowledge, and that won't help you. So pick up a book which you find accessible. So there is René Velek's book, A History of Modern Criticism. Then you have Habib's book, A History of Literary Criticism. Then you have a book called The Pelican Guide of English Literature by Boris Frohl. And then if you want really simple, something in really simple English and really accessible English, then you have M.S. Nagaranjan's book, English Literary Criticism and Theory. So you can go through these books. Now let us come to this next section, that is, I'm sorry, is my voice clear?
Yeah, you're audible clearly.
Okay. So the next thing that I was talking of is the development of English in India. The problem is that you don't have many books written or any book which would be accessible, and also if you see the price viability, a student cannot actually afford many books. So what I would suggest is, see, there is a reason why you had the Kothari Commission in this year's NET examination. The reason was that NEP was introduced. So anyone who kind of knows the current scenario and knows this vernacular versus English debate would kind of understand that English and the development of English in India becomes important for this year's paper. So and this happens all the time. So if Ishiguro wins the Nobel, you know that there are chances of his books being asked, so you have to be prepared. Similarly, there is a lot of background noise. Similarly, this time I think the students should have prepared for English as a vernacular language, and few things that you can read up, I think, or just go and browse it somewhere. You should read about 1904 Indian University Act, and then you should know what is there in Macaulay's Minute, because it has been asked time and again. Then you can read about Wood's Dispatch 1854, and also the work, the substantial work that the impetus that was given by Raja Ram Mohan Roy to English, and his letters to the Parliament suggesting that how English should be made a central part of Indian education system. Uh, After independence also, you have the university commissions and how they were established. So you need to kind of know how English developed, and then how the Kothari Commission 1966 and the three language formula. So what is the three language formula? So these are the things, these are the gray areas that you do not get perhaps access to in your UG PG syllabus. So these areas you have to read by yourselves. And again, what can help you? Books can help you, and the internet can help you for sure. English as a language, I can say, like linguistics and English pedagogy, it is there in few syllabuses. Uh, Sorry, it is there in few universities. I saw that they teach linguistics, but again, there are only few universities which offer this course. What I can suggest is, I can suggest a book called History of English Language by A.C. Borg, and this book will potentially help you in understanding the development of English as a language. If you have more time, which I think you don't, because you're preparing for a competitive exam, and a competitive exam preparation should be time constrained. But even if you want to read something that has to do with the social connections of English and society, then you should read a social history of English. Now, see, if you see the trends, the thing is that yeah, it changes radically. As Amrit said, that the people who are setting the questions are obviously professionally much more capable and much more astute than you, so you don't expect them to repeat the same questions. But what I would say, trends are similar. How? I think this time they, for example, this time they asked the origin of few cuisines or few dishes. Okay, and then they asked you, does it come from French or does it come from Portuguese? The words. In fact, earlier also they had had a similar question where they asked you the origin of swine and pork. So you had to match the word with the origins. So you see, the type of questions do repeat themselves. So you kind of get, I won't say a complete, I won't say the paper will be completely replicated, but you can get a certain understanding. Yeah, so if you are in UGPG, start by understanding your syllabus. Try to connect that syllabus to an overarching structure. Once you've done that, try to put it in your answers, because once you write it, note making is obviously one thing, and note making is a habit which I don't know why students are giving up all of a sudden. But you know, there's a science behind it. It is actually your reflexes that kind of help you memorize things. So once you write, even if your conscious mind forgets it, your subconscious mind remembers it. And I can tell you, because this has happened with me. So there was a question when I was appearing for net, there was a question, and I thought that I don't know the answer. And somewhere I felt that, okay, I've read it somewhere, I've wrote it somewhere. So the thing is that visuals and reflexes always help. So once you write it down, or once you paint something, it stays in your mind longer. Talking about the visuals, see, most of us, what we do is we start by reading summaries. When we prepare for net, we start by reading summaries. Now, even if you read the summary nth number of time, it is possible that you do not remember the the nuances, right? And they have gone as far as asking the question of like, name a mule in the entire story, or name a pet in the entire story. So how do we remember such details? There are two ways. First, try to make a visual representation of the entire storyline. uh, for example, if I take Way of the World, then who are the protagonists? And what are the other relations to the protagonists? And what are the actions that happen between these protagonists? So, what you can do, if you visualize it, perhaps you might just, it's not there in your conscious mind, but in your subconscious mind, you remember the images and you remember the names. The second way to do it is ask questions to yourselves. You know, there were students who told us that your material is very good, but the thing is that how do we make questions out of it? So the best way of learning something or preparing for an examination is ask questions to yourself. So I was preparing for civil services examination, and what I would do is I would read an article and I would find what are the questions that can be asked and what are the options that can confuse me the most. So try to put yourself in the place of an examiner. Okay, that will kind of make you then you'll come up with questions, then you'll come up with most perhaps the questions which as a reader just reading for once and skimming through the summary, you would think that this is something insignificant. But once you start preparing questions, you find that okay, this is something that can be asked and this is something that can be framed in a certain way. So it's very important to do that. Visual representations, because your memory kind of captures visual images, and asking questions because then you remember it well, because again you'll be asked questions in the examination. One more thing that you can do is, once you are prepared, at least you know the history that I told you, you should know the timeline. Once you know the timeline, you know the major writers, then go and sit and time yourself. Not just write a question, try to answer it without timing yourself. Try to time yourself, and once you time yourself, see what are the questions you can attempt, what are the questions you can't attempt. Be honest to yourself. You know what are the wild guesses that just got you marks. Okay, so you know that. You have to be honest to yourself. That is very important. When you do that, don't just stop there. It's not like, okay, in hurry, 12 days I solved 12 papers and that's enough. No, this is something that my like when I was doing my master's, my HOD, Dr. Arun Sinha, told me, and this is something that I keep to my heart whenever preparing for any competitive examination for that matter. The key to any examination is the question paper. So what you do is you solve the question paper, take the questions which you cannot answer, see what are the topics, find the name of the writers, and the works that are there in the option. There has to be some reason that these works are there as the option. They don't see, your examiners are not doing things just for fun. They are learned people, and if they are setting certain questions, they have something in mind. So please also give equal importance to the options that are perhaps that you're seeing for the first time. Now coming to PhD examination, okay, I sat for QSET and JNU. I did not appear for DU because I got selected in JNU. What I would like to say is, one thing, I completely agree with Amrit. This is from my experience. I did not know anyone at JNU. I had my master's degree from my hometown, that is Ranchi, and I cannot even say that I knew many people in Delhi. So the thing is that in that, and I can also tell you that the net, don't consider net as the end all and be all of everything, because if you consider net as the end of everything, the problem is that you're not preparing for PhD, and PhD is what gets you a job, a degree, an additional degree, and a job that you are looking for, and a livelihood, right? So and PhD is something that requires, again, what I'll repeat it, you need to have that facility of language. You need to understand language, because you have to defend your synopsis. And if you do, how do you defend your synopsis? When you understand the nuances of language. There can be just one word that can entirely change the discourse, you know, and you can really, your interviewer can get you, like, if there is an interviewer and there is a word like choice and there's a word like will, perhaps for me, if I don't know the nuances of language, it is similar and I use it there can be questions from that particular word, and then perhaps I won't be able to defend it. So be very particular with your language and how you use language. Because I've seen people who go for rote learning and who say that, okay, even if you don't understand the language, kuch nahi hota hai, just rote learn. Rote learning won't help you, because even net is shifting the trends, and you see more questions that are comprehension based. You see more questions that are research based. They have asked the names of certain journals. They have asked you for not only journals, they have asked you, I think, certain questions from the MLA format. So you need to take research seriously and not see net as the end of or the destination of your preparation. Your destination of your preparation should be PhD entrance examinations. What else I would like to suggest is, once because much has been said and I don't want to take much of your time, it's already 3 minutes to 7. I'll just wind up by saying that try to make your preparations very connected and very comprehensive. Don't go for an approach where you wrote learn for net and then you say that, okay, once I clear net, then I'll prepare for PhD. That doesn't happen. You have to create a critical faculty, a comprehensive understanding, and that is done throughout. That doesn't come overnight, or that doesn't develop in 3 to 4 months. Yes, again, talking about coaching and non-coaching, or again, do as it fits you. The thing is that why I did it without coaching. Again, because there are many things. For me, I had my MA batch with me. Few people did it after they passed their masters. So what happens then is, yes, you need friends. You need not, I won't say like just friends for bantering and friends for moving around. You need friends because you need to discuss things. You know, people who are preparing for any examination would tell you that you need a group of people with whom you can discuss, because via discussions you remember things. Okay, perhaps I would not something like if I am discussed yesterday I discussed event and being with Nisarga, so I'll remember it because of our discussion. Okay, because of our discussion around that book, around that work. So it's very important that you have certain uh, peer group or certain people whom you can discuss and talk about, and then you also need directions. For me, I got that. I have already told it. I got that directions from Ashutosh sir, and I'll always be grateful for that. So you need a certain kind of direction. If you get it from somewhere, uh, from your professor at the university, it's fine and good. If you don't, go for coaching, but be very particular about what you select, you know, because it's not just your money that is wasted at the end. It is 6 important months of your life, and it is kind of disheartening because you put in so much of efforts, and then when it doesn't kind of consolidate into anything, it does have an effect on your emotional well-being also. So be very particular about what you are going to choose. Get reviews from people who have already taken up the course. Go and talk to the person who is perhaps in charge of the course, and you'll get and try to ask questions, questions which, again, questions which will let you know that if the person is again knowledgeable enough to mentor you or not. It is nothing bad. You know, when I in one of my internships, I went to DAV Shamli, and there was these little kids, 5 in standard 3 to 4. I think it was standard 3 or standard 4, and this kid would come to me and ask questions like, ma'am, lieutenant ka spelling kya hota hai? Because they wanted to know that their teacher is their teacher capable enough to kind of teach them. Now this is kind of missing in us. We do not question the material. We do not question the coaching institutes. We are already so much perhaps anxious because of the preparations that we kind of go for anything that we are offered. So when you are preparing, just be, you have to have a very strong mind. You have to kind of be very be able to distinguish between what is good for you and what is not. I wish the coaching centers were honest enough to give you a positive review, like tell you the honestly that could they cater to, or they couldn't, they cannot cater to your needs. But they are, again, many of them are just doing business, so you cannot expect that from them. What you can do is just, whenever you approach an examination, do it with a very cool mind, and you can be, it's really easy to do that because, see, all of us are similar. There's no difference between a person who qualifies NET or a person who qualifies JRF and a person who doesn't. Perhaps he can do it in the second time, and perhaps he can score better than me in the next attempt. So what is the difference is that how cool minded you are, how determined you are, and again, how necessary you feel that net cracking that examination or clearing that examination is for you. If you are taking it as a fool's play, it's not going to happen, right? You have to take it seriously, but again with a very cool and composed mind. That is all I have to say, and all the best for all of them who are preparing for net and who have taken the test. And I wish that they really you really clear the net this the examination this time. Okay, thank you everyone.
Thank you so much, Payal ma'am. Your lecture was very crystal and clear, and it was very practical. And you just shared that definitely we should visualize the things that remains in our mind whenever we just cut ourselves from the study also. That somewhere that keeps revolving in our mind. So definitely we should visualize the things, and you just dealt with the left point, that was the English in Indian, the teaching of English in India. That is very important point, and we should focus and we should just go through that, and that is very important topic for NET also. And now, without wasting time, I'm very thankful to all these speakers. Now, I would like to move to our next special guest, that who is Dr. Janmejay Tiwari sir. Now, I would like to call him. Before calling him, I would like to introduce Dr. Janmejay Tiwari sir is teaching literature in English at K.S. Saket Postgraduate College in Ayodhya. Means Ram Manohar Lohia University. He is teaching in Ram Manohar Lohia University, and he has got published several research papers in various national and international journals. His highly acclaimed paper, From Roots to Roots, Diaspora in the Novels of Salman Rushdie, is included in the reference section of the syllabus of diaspora literature in IIT Patna. He has edited 2 books and composed a book, Literary Speculations, an objective approach to English literature. And so many other things are there that I don't think that means I should mention, because our speakers are waiting to listen him. So now I would like to move to him to listen and to get his experiences and his tips that can help us. Janmeja sir, can you listen me?
Thank you, Shekhar sir. My time is already up as it is 7:04, and I
Okay,
think
sir.
I'm not going to bore my students and my colleagues. Actually, after listening to such brilliant scholars like Amitabh, Vikram, Nisarga, Amrit, Payal ma'am, there is nothing left for me to say. Just I want to conclude those points that these professors and scholars have said. What to do and what not to do. After doing an MA, a student becomes a complete Hamlet. To be or not to be, that is the question. What to read and what not to read, and he is always in a dilemma. And today the scholars, today the speakers have very minutely given the details what to read, but they didn't tell us what not to read. And almost students are confused what to read and what not to read. There are plenty, a plethora of books available in our libraries, in bookshops, in our pen drives, in our hard disks, but we are unable to finalize what to do and what not to go through. Kya padhe, kya na padhe? This is the most typical and most confusing questions. The most important point is how to read, and each student who want to get through the net, he has to focus on how and why to read, right? Let me start from the very net examination, from your MA examination. If you have a post graduation in English literature and looking for the best career option after it, then UGC net exam is the best option for you, right? It is not only the most lucrative job in India, but also the most liberating job.
You will have your say everywhere. Wherever you go, you can have your idea, you can give your ideology, you can have your share of knowledge, right? First of all, if you want to appear in the net, then you have to focus on your syllabus first, right? NTA has certain guidelines for UGC net exams which are very much important to fulfill, and these criteria include the educational qualification and as limit as well, right? Then what not to read and what to read. UGC net, first of all, you should go through the pattern of UGC net. And let me make the point very clear that UGC seldom repeats itself. In each year, it changes its syllabus. The pattern of questions is they keep on changing. So you have to stick to your syllabus. Then what to read? First of all, you have to decide what to read and then what not to read. My advice is you have to go to the syllabus of Delhi University graduation honors and then post graduation syllabus. Point number one. And point number two, cover the syllabus of Banaras Hindu University BHU very minutely if you want to go through the NET examination in your first go. These the syllabi of these two universities are very much important for the students. If you have covered everything in detail, then it's my promise you will clear it in your first go, right? As far as syllabus is concerned, then well begun is half done. It is a very old saying, and you have to start very minutely. First of all, you have to segregate your syllabus. You have to divide your syllabus into several parts, and then you have to stick to it, them one by one. For example, if you are preparing for NET examination, then you have to go through the following topics: environmental studies, science, research aptitude, teaching aptitude, computer, education, policy, polity, important education policies, important days in the history of education, important days in the history of Indian constitution, and then Indian politics. These are the questions. And let me tell you that the second paper that is related to your subject, it can make you a net. But if you want to be a JRF, then the first paper that is called general paper plays a very vital role. The first paper makes you JRF and the subject paper makes you net. Then you have to decide on which paper you have to focus. As far as the syllabus of literature is concerned, actually there is no syllabus at all. You don't have to cover only British literature or English literature, but you have to cover literature in English. Whatever is written in English, whatever has been translated in English is the part of UGC NET examination, right? So it's not very easy, it's a very hard nut to crack, but there is a chance if you are determined, if you are steadfast in doing, if you are steadfast in studying, if you have consistency, if you are persistent, then nothing is impossible in the world. You can get through. It's very much easy. And for those scholars who have qualified NET, who have qualified JRF, they are not special. They are also amongst us, right? It's up to you. How much do you take from them? How much are you inspired from them? Take inspiration. And finally, before concluding, I want to say nowadays two words are in fashion: isolation and quarantine. And if you want to clear any examination, you have to stick to these words: isolation and quarantine. Isolation doesn't mean to be unsocial. Isolation means you have to seclude, you have to segregate yourself from the crowd for your proper study. And once you crack the examination, once you become an assistant professor, the world is yours. And if you don't, if you fail in cracking the examination, then you will be nowhere, right? Your very closest, your very nearest friend will be not in your side, right? So keep on preparing, do your best, follow the advices of these scholars who have told you everything in detail. And as far as books are concerned, I'll tell you only two books. The first book is written by an Indian, R.D. Dwivedi, a compendious history of English literature, right? The very master book for all competitive examination in English, whether it is UGC NET, whether it is trained graduate teacher examination, postgraduate teacher examination, or PhD entrance. You can't qualify without going through such a wonderful book. And the second book that is related to uh, literary criticism, M.H. Abrams. And these two books are enough for you, right? And it's better to read a book 100 times than to read 100 books one time, right? Stick to those two books, and then you have your own laptop, you have your own mobile, utilize them properly, right? You have to cover all the Nobel laureates, you have to cover all the Booker winners, you have to cover all the Pulitzer Prize winner writers, you have to cover Sahitya Academy winner writers, and there is no such book that can include all these writers. Internet is the only source that can help you a lot, right? And finally, you have to solve as many papers as possible. Keep on solving hundreds of papers, and hundreds of papers are available on your net only, right? Try to solve a paper daily, and it should be included in your daily schedule, that just in the morning try just solve a paper, and throughout the day keep on searching the answers of those questions, right? This is my advice to my students who are appearing for net. And thank you once again, Shekhar ji, for inviting me. Actually, you mentioned the name of my professor under whom I did my PhD, Professor Sarvjit Mukherjee. So I postponed all my plans, and here I am with you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Janmeja sir. I'm really very thankful to you that you postponed all your works, and you just tried your best to give time at so late. Means I just saw you. You joined the session from 5 o'clock, and you kept with us. You remained with us till now. So I'm really very thankful to you. I would like to say a lot of thanks to you, sir. And really, means when Sarabjit sir suggested your name, it was a great opportunity for me to invite you. And means as you said that I'm just going to postpone and I'm going to be there for this session. Thank you so much, sir. And you covered so many things. You just within such short time, you shared the things with the participants that they should follow and they should keep in their mind. No doubt, sir, it is very important to go through the books, to go through one books 100 times better than to go through 100 books one time. And dedication, devotion, and consistency. And as you said that the means we should be secluded uh, from the meetings, from the not from the meeting but from the gatherings and from other things till the moment we qualify the net. And this very important exams जो हम लोग के सामने कहीं ना कहीं से जब तक हम लोग नेट नहीं क्वालिफाई होते तब तक ऐसा लगता है कि वी आर नथिंग. तो इन चीजों के लिए हमें इन सारे पॉइंट्स को जो भी आज जितने भी पॉइंट्स हमें इन सारे स्पीकर्स ने हमसे शेयर किया है, डेफिनेटली आई थिंक दैट our listeners, our participants will follow that. And a lot of thanks to you, sir. Now, this program is going to be wind up, and very means I would like to share that tomorrow at the same time at 5 o'clock we will meet. But before that, I would like to say thanks to all those speakers who just give their consent and share their thoughts, experience, and tips and guidance to the participants who are struggling and preparing for NET and JRF and PhD entrance. And how should they just start their preparation, how should they take admission in PhD, and what should they do while doing their PhD, what on what they should focus while doing their PG and UG. All these things are dealt with by these writers, by these speakers in very detail, and they focused on the points that we should keep and we should focus while doing preparation. So I think all our participants would have got a lot of things, a lot of points and guidance from these speakers. A lot of thanks to all these speakers, Nisarga sir and Amrit sir and Payal ma'am and Amitabh sir and you, sir Amitabh means Janmeja sir, and all the participants. Special thanks I would like to, it goes to the spectators, means these participants who remained with us till this moment, means for such a long time, and you kept listening us. And I think you will just follow and you will adopt the things that the speakers have suggested to you. Now to miss I would like to announce that tomorrow at the same time is 5 o'clock we will meet with another speakers and with another guests. For tomorrow there are speakers Vineet Pandey sir and Pradeep sir. Pradeep Pradeep's Ms. Pradeep sir and Vineet Pandey sir both are they are great experts in this field. Pradeep is unknown to us, but he has a lot of experiences and he just qualified so many exams on his on the basis of his own hard work. Everyone does hard work, but he never tries to open himself out in front of the people. Tomorrow we will listen him and his experiences and his tips what he has followed during his preparation. And after that we will have another special guest for tomorrow, Ashish Pathak sir from BHU campus from the Department of English, and another means there is a ma'am, Kaur ma'am. She will be sharing her thoughts with us. So I hope that tomorrow you also means you all will join us and you will be benefited. You will just listen those things and follow that. Now I would like to say have a very good
Hello?
night and thanks a lot to all of you. Thank you so much.
Hello?
Thank you so much.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
There is someone who wants.
Hello?
Yes.
Can I
Yes.
respond? Good
Yes.
evening to you all. I am A.
Yes.
Srinivas Babu, Vice Principal and Head of the Department of English, Gayatri College of Science and Management, Srikakulam, Andhra Pradesh. I am very much delighted to mention one thing. This is a galaxy of youngsters. What we can say, youngsters with intellectuality. Actually, I have completed
Yes.
23 years of experience, but I would like to teach something to my students. So I noted all the points what you have mentioned. The different speakers with all the speakers mentioned the things well. But one thing what I observe in this particular context and different kinds of webinars, most of the people don't have patience. Actually, what I found that the number is 80 at the beginning, now it is 33. Of course, there may be some technical glitches, but which is useful for us. Definitely, we require a lot of patience with the determination. Then only we can get success. So many of my students, I remain as an English teacher and head of the department, but my students, many of students have become IAS officers, IPS officers, and professors in different NITs, IITs. So I feel very happy for that. So I feel very, very happy because recently I attended in this pandemic 450 webinars and international national webinars. This is a unique one and you have organized in a fantastic manner. Definitely, I suggest my students and please leave your details tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to attend this one. And I came to know this particular piece of information very late, even though I joined in this particular webinar. So I learned many points from your communication information because updation can be found especially from the youngsters. Because of course I completed my PG 23 years back. The scenario in those days is different from today. Today there is a cutthroat competition. You are the inspiration to the present generation. That's why please leave your details tomorrow. I will circulate these details to my students, not only for the students of English but also the other subjects because ours is a UG and PG college. So I have been working there, running services, and I'm very much thankful to you. Wish you good luck, and you have to continue the same spirit, and you have to offer your services to the students to give, and you have to play the role of a potter, in which a potter has to give a shape to a shapeless clay to a required shape. In the same manner, you are the persons. I feel very, very happy to see you all in this particular platform. Thank you very much for giving this particular opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. Such golden words have been used by you for this organization, and now I'm really very happy that you people also have joined us, and I feel very lucky after hearing you. And thank you so much, sir. From my core of heart, I would like to express my thanks to you that you shared such nice words and such nice means, gratitude to us. And tomorrow I definitely I'll share for means the link and the program of tomorrow. And means I would like to request kindly contact me because I don't have your contact. Kindly contact me anyhow, and I'll be talking to you later on. And now for tomorrow, for today, I would like to say good night. And tomorrow we will meet again with new speakers and with new guests. And till then, I would like to say goodbye and thank you so much for
Thank you.
listening us and participating.
Thank you, Mr. Shekhar. Thank you, Shekhar.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to all of you. Thank you so much. I am feeling very glad after organizing this webinar. and I hope and I am planning for means lecture series after this, and
Very
definitely I'll
good.
be
Very
sharing the
nice.
links of.
Very nice. Very
Now
nice.
it's bye.
Good evening.
Thanks a
Good
lot.
evening.
Yes. Someone else want to speak? Yes.
Yes, sir. Good evening, all respected teachers. This is Nandini. First time I got this link
Okay.
from Dr. Asim Tripathi. He has sent me on WhatsApp. I have
Okay.
done my masters in English literature in 2007, and I cleared my PhD entrance exam in 2014. But due to my husband posting, I was not able to join. But again, I thought, and even I'm thinking that I should apply for PhD now. But my husband is in central job, so it is quite difficult for me. Still, it is my keen desire from the bottom of my heart. I want to do PhD, but a lot of confusion and dilemma is there. How to prepare, from where I get the papers, and who can if it will be very good if anybody would like to help me. So today, when I got this link from Asim Tripathi, sir, I joined this, and I'm very happy to join this. I got so many, important and information. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. After listening such nice words and such nice feedbacks from you all, I am feeling very glad, and it gives me immense pleasure and courage also for means energy also for organizing such events in future. These are the things that motivates me. I am really thankful to all of you. Uh, so means now we have means I think others are also trying to speak, but I'm feeling very sorry that I'm unable to invite them, and I'm unable to means attend their questions and their uh, means queries because it is too late. But if for I would like to, because I'm seeing that you are interested and you are trying to speak for 10 minutes, I would like to give. If any one of you trying to speak something or want to ask something, you can, because it is not good to end the meeting without your feedbacks and queries. If any one of you want to ask something, kindly ask and share. Okay. Uh, till now we have our speakers. They are with me, and now once again I would like to say thanks. Means from Nisarga sir to Payal ma'am and to Amrit sir, to all these
Thank
three
you.
people who just gave their consent. When I was planning this webinar, I first talked to Payal ma'am and she gave her consent, and she managed means all these three people from this lecture series, means for this experts talk. And I'm very thankful to Payal ma'am for means helping me and for helping this organizing committee. And now without taking more time, because I know that you all have very means a lot of works and to be done, that is why I would like to say that now I should say goodbye without
Take a
proceeding
minute.
this.
It's okay.
Yes, once again, Payal ma'am.
I'll just take a minute.
Yes, definitely, you
Actually,
can.
we are also thankful because the feedback that we got, especially from Sir, I'm sorry I didn't get his name,
uh,
but it's
I'm
great.
Palam Srivastav.
I
It is
am. I am Srinivas Babu, Amma. A.
Uh,
Srinivas Babu,
uh,
Vice Principal. Because I am in civil dress, that's why I don't want to switch on my video.
no, no,
So I am there on the screen. Thank you.
okay,
okay,
Yes,
okay. Nice to
you're right.
listen your nice words, sir. Yes, Payal ma'am, you want
Thank
to
you
say
very
something?
much. Because I like you. I like you people. Because nowadays, you see, I have seen many persons. They have attended webinars. Just very beginning of the webinar, simply they ask about. They start asking about the feedback link. Knowledge acquisition is very, very important. Besides certificate, what I can say that. That's why I feel very happy with your presentations. Very nice experiences you have shared so far. Definitely, that's why please leave your contacts to me, because those contacts will be useful to my students. If there is a chance, I will conduct interview with my students, because we have PG students for MBA, MC also. Some of the other skills also they require. So I can arrange some programs for them. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
I
much,
would
sir.
just
I'll con. Yes, ma'am.
So
Okay,
I
okay,
just
sir.
like
Thank
to
you.
thank Shekhar for organizing this and helping us to connect with such a good and engaging audience. I know the number has been dropping, but I think a short attention span is something that is given to us because of the medium. So yeah, I think it was a good number. It was a good interaction. I am thankful for the comments for the feedback that we got. And obviously, this will help us understand perhaps the perspective of those preparing now even better. And thank you because, again, someone like Srivana, as experienced as Srinivasa sir, could connect to us because of you. And we got such a beautiful feedback from his side. So yeah, it's really lovely to see that the age group is not just limited to the youngsters who are preparing for NET, but this was an audience which kind of had was extensive. So thanks a lot, Shekhar.
Definitely, I am feeling also very happy that there is no gap, no age gap, and sir joined us, and he was listening us very carefully, and he means he went through all the means complete session, relation whole session, and that is why he gave such nice and very positive feedback to us, and it gave us a lot of energy and courage to organize such things in future. So now I would like to say uh, good night to all of you. Thank you so much to all the speakers and all the participants and all everyone. Good night. Meet you tomorrow.
Thank you.
One thing I would like to say that this video will be uploaded on YouTube because of some problem. Means I'm organizing this whole webinar alone. Means I'm not getting help of anyone. I'm managing the technical things and the speakers and everything. That is why it was little difficult for me, and I tried my best to stream this on YouTube, but because of some issue, it was not means it was not streamed properly. And means today at night, I think it will be uploaded on YouTube. You can go through the whole video, whole session once again on YouTube. I'll be sharing the link of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.